The Owl House Season 2A ended on a strangely intriguing note. Instead of a bombastic finale confronting Belos's villainous machinations like I and a lot of people expected, we get a more small-scale, more intimate finale in which Luz comes home to her mother only to find that she's been replaced with a doppelganger, V, and she must strike up a friendship with V while trying to navigate the tensions and difficulties in her relationship with her mother. It's much more poignant, and I like that. I care a lot more about the parental bond between Luz and Camilla than I do about the Manichaean struggle for the fate of the universe. A long time ago, I heard a brilliant piece of writing advice, which is that we don't care about people saving the world unless we care about the people doing the saving. And that's absolutely true. And it's true because these grand battles for the fate of the world are abstract, they're distant, they're kind of empty bombast, whereas these close relationships are concrete, they're specific, and they can be both beautiful and devastating. They're a lot more real and a lot more intricate and layered than these grandiose struggles are. Daringly animated battle sequences, elaborate fight choreography, stylish animation, all of that matters, but no one cares about it unless the writing and the character work is solid. The best example of this is probably Season 8 of Game of Thrones, which, despite garnering a reputation as a horrible season of television, is a pretty useful case study, because all of the technical aspects of that season, the cinematography, the direction, the special effects, the sound design, the music, was excellent. Even the acting was excellent. But what was missing was a clear, intimate, solid, palpable sense of these characters being real people and acting in real situations. The characters fans had grown to care about deeply throughout the past seasons of the show had become just empty vessels for contrived plot points, and that turned a lot of people off, and rightly so. We don't care about people saving the world unless we care about the people doing the saving. So, because of that, I think the Owl House's choice to focus on the interactions between Luz and her mom, which are messy and jagged, full of yearning and mixed up feelings, was a much more interesting choice than focusing on big good versus evil battle sequences ever could have been. The large-scale storytelling is still there, but it's put on pause, and instead the focus is on Luz's mother feeling guilty but also betrayed that Luz does not want to stay on Earth. So she extracts a promise from Luz that Luz will choose to come back to Earth instead of spending all her time in the Boiling Isles. And Luz, not having time to talk about this with her mom and knowing this might be the last time she sees her mom in a long time, makes that promise. Both sides are kind of in the wrong here. Luz is wrong for making a promise she couldn't keep. Camilla is wrong for making Luz make a promise like that, but both sides are also understandable. For Luz, the Boiling Isles is a liberatory place. It's a place where she could finally figure herself out. She could finally grow. It's not a place of escapism or self-indulgence. Her worst tendencies are checked and corrected. It's a place where she can really thrive. She's able to step into a role that really suits her. To give away all that and return to a life on Earth that she hated would be abominable for her. but also consider it from Camilla's point of view. Imagine hearing your 14-year-old daughter say that she chose to stay in a strange and dangerous fantasy world instead of staying with you. That is heartbreaking and devastating. It makes Camilla feel that she's failed as a parent, that she hasn't given Luz what Luz really needs. And I'm sure that it's really made Camilla consider whether she made the right choice sending Luz off to that summer camp, even though I'd argue she had good reasons to do so. But if it made Luz hate her and hate being at home so much that she chose to stay in a world where her life is constantly in peril, Camilla feels that she's really failed Luz. She's offended that Luz would not choose her, but she also feels a sense of self-loathing. And this is not what Luz intends. Luz tries to emphasize that Camilla is not to blame, that it's not about her mom, it's about the world that she had to live in. It's about her old life and how constricting it had been for her, how it denied her the sense to really express her own values and ideals. It just made her an outcast and a loner, which led to her becoming even more hurt and retreating into escapism even more. It's a really dense and messy situation, and I did not expect the show to delve into it with as much lucid clarity and poignant depth as it did. I hope we get to see even more of the Luz and Camilla dynamic play out in Season 2B. There is so much untapped tension and anxiety there. It's one of the most interesting narrative strands the show has, and I hope it expands on that. The Owl House understands incisively what Amphibia, a show I deeply love despite how it frustrates me sometimes, does not always seem to understand. That being that choosing to stay in a fantasy world instead of returning home, especially when you are a teenager, says a lot about you as a person. That is a statement of purpose. It is a statement of dissatisfaction and even disdain toward the world you had lived in. It's saying that your old life, as full of material comforts as it might have been, was so stultifying and so deadening to you that you chose to leave and go to a fantastical world. But beyond the Luz and Camilla dynamic, there is a couple more things I'd like to see as the show goes forward. I would like to see more of Amity's parents, for instance. Season 1 presented them as major obstacles toward Amity's personal growth, to her struggle for independence and self-definition. And Season 2 only partially paid off on this setup. We do see Amity's parents once, in episode 202, escaping expulsion, but that is it. Amity is conflicted for most of the episode, but then when Luz is in serious danger, Amity acts against her parents, shakes off their influence, and sides with Luz. And that's that. It's all a bit tidy, if you ask me. Now, I'm not saying Amity should not have made the decisions she did. I'm not saying the show was wrong to have her make those decisions, but I am saying it could have gone a lot further in demonstrating the consequences of her doing so. As someone who would like to see a little more of Amity outside her relationship with Luz, I think this is fertile ground for narrative expansion. Her parents are obviously not going to be pleased that Amity has consistently and flagrantly disobeyed them. It is not just that one time to save her girlfriend, it's time and time again. It's her dyeing her hair, it's her siding with the Owl House people, it's her deciding to go against the Emperor, even though the Blights work for the Emperor. They manufacture a lot of weapons for him. Her parents seem like they should be important characters. Even outside their relationship with their daughter, they are major secondary antagonists, or at least Adelia is. They're close allies with the Emperor. Shouldn't they get more screen time? They should at least get a little more screen time in relation to their tempestuous relationship with their daughter. Amity was so concerned with obeying them and submitting to them back in Season 1, and she was so terrified of going against them. But now she did go against them, and there weren't really any consequences, so that really undercuts a lot of the setup the show had been doing, and I think the show could pretty easily ameliorate that. The last thing I want to see as the show goes forward is probably more Hunter. I have loved all the time we've gotten with Hunter so far, but it's not nearly enough to really expand his character and fulfill the promise the show has given us in regards to his character so far. We don't know a lot about his relationship with Balos, his relationship with what he calls wild magic, and I really want to see him struggle between his latent idealism and his loyalty to the Emperor. In his mind, he owes the Emperor everything, and he would just be a nobody without the Emperor's help and support. And that is a hard conviction for him to shake off, in part because it's mostly true. His high position owes largely to the Emperor's quote-unquote kindness toward him, even though that kindness is very much a cover for more manipulative tendencies. I also want to see a little more of his relationship with Luz. The two of them have an interesting connection. Compare the quick and easy camaraderie they develop in episode 206 to his rather cold and callous behavior toward the much nicer Amity in episode 209. If anyone is going to convince Hunter to step away from Balos, it's going to be Luz. And I think that would be a fascinating and important moment for Luz's character as well. And if something like that does happen, it's going to happen quite soon, considering that the show only has Season 2B and then a very short Season 3A left. So I'm really interested to see where it goes from here. So anyway, thank you all for watching. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Donate to my Patreon if you can, and you want to see more videos like this. As of the time I'm writing this, there is no guarantee of when Season 2 of The Owl House is going to release, so be on the lookout for a release date. Let's hope it's soon. Anyway, tune in soon for my next analysis. It will be coming soon. Promise you that. Thank you all again. Adios, comrades.